Love in the air.
I'm pretty sure that's your own Victoria's Secret perfume.
I know you might feel weird because he's my brother and all, but you can tell me if your relationship's getting serious. I believe we're at an age where dating each other's siblings isn't that big of a deal. It's as if you were dating some random guy off the street. Just because I'm related to Jason doesn't mean I'm gonna flip out if you reveal some crazy sex secret or tell me that you've been breaking up with him because he's like a wimpy little prick. So go ahead, give me all the juicy details.
We're just hanging out and stuff. It's no big deal.
You're over at his apartment almost every other night. That sounds like a big deal to me.
Does it matter? He's my rebound guy anyway. It's not wise to get serious with a rebound guy.
Getting consent.
Does Jason know that?
I think so.
You better make sure he does.
Why?
Jason has a habit of getting attached to people.
I'll be sure to let him down gently if and when I feel the need to break things off.
Just be careful. If you're too rough with him, I'll have no control over what my protective sister side will do to you.
You just said that I could tell you anything about my relationship with Jason, including my feelings towards breaking up with him, if in fact I had any. Now all of a sudden you've developed this alternate personality that will cause me physical harm if I severely break your brother's heart.
I never said I wouldn't react negatively, just that you shouldn't be ashamed to be honest with me.
Holding her head.
I swear, sometimes you make me want to give up on life.
Carrie's phone rings.
Oh, speaking of the devil, I'll be right back.
Carrie places her notebook down on the couch. She grabs her phone and runs off stage before answering it.
Hey, just got up about a half hour ago. What time's your audition?
Carrie continues talking to Jason. While she's gone, Reagan begins to look through Carrie's notebook. She stops about midway through and begins to read what's written on the page. A few beats later, Carrie re-enters. Still talking to Jason,
That sounds perfect. I'll see you then. Bye.
Carrie hangs up the phone. She notices Reagan reading her notebook.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Noticing Carrie closing the notebook.
Nothing.
You were reading my notebook, and don't try to pretend like you were doing something else because I saw you with my own two eyes.
I'm sorry. I know you told me never to touch it. I was just curious.
One day, I hope to share what I've written with the rest of the world, but until those pages have been carefully edited and revised, no one, unless they're given special permission by me, is allowed to read them.
Placing the notebook back down on the couch.
Promise, I didn't get very far.
Calming down, picking up her notebook.
I'm going back to the bedroom.
I said I was sorry.
I know, but I can't risk you getting curious again. I'm going somewhere where I know for the next few hours, at least, I'll have some privacy.
Carrie turns to leave.
Carrie, wait. What?
I saw the poem.
What poem?
Poem you wrote about Jason.
You read all of it?
Yes.
Great.
It's okay. You don't have to put up this front or whatever it is you want to call it. If you have feelings for him, that's fine.
He told me to write it for him.
I'm not buying that. Jason's not the mushy romantic poetry type. At least I don't think he is.
I'm telling you the truth. He told me that he never had someone write a love poem about him, so he asked if I wouldn't mind writing one.
This bowl you're trying to shove down my throat right now stinks to high heaven.
It happened, whether or not you choose to believe it.
And why did you act so strange when I first told you I read it?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes my face just does weird things.
Admit that you're falling for my brother or I'm going to start singing.
There's nothing to admit. It's just a random poem I wrote. It means nothing.
Who'd you think you're kidding? He's the other attitude to try to keep it hidden. I think we can see right through your bro, you can conceal it. We know how you feel and who you're dealing.
Shut up!
Sitting back down.
Jason didn't ask me to write that poem. I wrote it myself last night. I placed it in the middle of the notebook, away from the script for my show, so there'd be less chance of him finding it.
If I knew it, yes!
Starts doing a celebratory dance across the living room.
I shouldn't have told you the truth.
Putting her arms around Carrie.
Sweetie, don't be embarrassed. It's not like I'm gonna tell him.
You better not. I can't believe I fell for a rebound guy. I have hit a new low.
Carrie collapses on the couch.
It happens. The heart wants what the heart wants. Sometimes we can't control who we fall for. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I know, but what if it isn't that serious to him? I can't go through another heartbreak right now.
Sitting down next to Carrie.
Perhaps you need to have a conversation with him.
I can't.
That's the only way you're gonna know how he feels. Otherwise, you're gonna have to deal with disappointment later on.
I thought relationships were supposed to get less complicated after high school.
Who told you that?
No one. I probably just invented it in my head.
Relationships never get any easier. You just have to learn to prepare yourself for all the complex layers they contain.
You're right. Are there any bars open?
11 a.m. some Midori left over for my birthday.
That's not strong enough.
Would you like me to drive you to CVS or something?
Yes, please.
Let me get my purse.
Reagan exits. Picks up her phone, calls Jason.
Hey, I know we agreed to meet later tonight, but are you free around 3 or so? I can meet you there. Yep, sounds good. See you then. Bye.
Carrie hangs up as Reagan enters, turning off the TV.
Ready to go?
Yep,
I'm buying.
sounds perfect to me.
Grabbing her notebook and phone off the couch. They exit. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 2. Is This Love by Whitesnake can be heard playing. Lights up on Jason and Carrie sitting in Jason's apartment. They're seated on his futon, repeating himself.
So, what did you want to talk about?
Give me a minute.
We've been sitting here for over an hour. What could you possibly have to say to me that requires over an hour of prep time to say?
I wanted to ask you,
Yes?
this shouldn't be that difficult.
Just spit it out.
Okay. How serious do you think our relationship is?
I don't know. You've only been dating for a little over a month. Why?
Trying to hide her disappointment.
No reason.
Let me get this straight. We ran plans to go over your script. You call me to move up those plans. You have my sister dropped you off here at 3. The two of you reeking like something out of a bad zombie movie and proceed to take a nap on my floor. I leave for my audition and come back to find you seated on my futon staring off into space. We spend the next hour sitting in complete silence until you finally get the courage to talk. And when you finally ask a question that's been on your mind and I give you my honest answer, you try to act like it's no big deal. I might not know you that well, but I know you well enough to be able to tell when you're lying. Let me turn the question on to you. How serious do you think our relationship is?
I've tried to convince myself that we're just fooling around, but every time I think of you and our relationship together, I just get this feeling that there's something more there.
Maybe there is. I'm not saying that I'm not serious about you. It's just we've been together for such a short amount of time. I can't really tell how I feel. I might be falling for you, but then again, I might not. Give me some time and I'll be able to give you a more concrete answer.
Fair enough. I guess I can understand that.
Let me ask you another question. What are your feelings towards me?
I can't answer that right now.
Why not? Are your feelings towards me stronger than my feelings towards you?
Something like that?
Look at me. I might not be able to tell where this relationship is going, but I can assure you that if I feel our relationship has run its course, I'll make sure you're on the same page first.
I guess that's all I can ask for.
That's all I can really think of. Heartbreak happens. Not everything's fair in love relationships. Popular opinion would like us to believe otherwise, but that isn't the case. We can only protect each other so much. If one person is bound to get hurt, then they're going to get hurt. That's just the way it works.
Don't you ever wish they would have taught us these types of things in school?
What, like a course on love instead of algebra?
Yeah,
It probably would have helped me out a little.
me too.
You feel better now?
Sort of. Do you still want to go over the script?
I think you can afford to take one night off from writing. As for me, I could use a break from attempting to read your tiny handwriting.
Excuse me for having neat penmanship.
Excuse me for not wanting to get an eye strain.
You want to get some food or something?
How about we stay and watch a movie?
Depends on the movie.
We're not playing this game again, are we?
You invited me over last week to go over the latest scene I've written, and after we're done, you put on a piece of found footage garbage.
Grave Encounters is probably one of the best found footage movies ever released. Pretty sure it's the only good one.
No. See, that's where you're wrong. Found footage is the salt of the earth. It's what will end up killing this genre before it has a chance to redeem itself from some of the atrocities it's produced during the last 10 years.
I understand that.
Do you? Because if you did, you wouldn't have a collection of the first 3 Paranormal Activity movies sitting in your closet.
I bought those on a whim.
A likely story.
I understand that found footage increases the scare factor, but does nothing to enhance the plot or character development.
Grave Encounters may be a little bit better than most found footage horror, but it still falls into the same trap. You can't have a first-person camera point of view and still be able to grow the story and create engaging characters that the audience can identify with. It's near impossible.
They at least attempted to carefully place the scares,
Attempt is the optimum word in that sentence.
and they carefully integrated backstory into the plot.
Yes, but I still felt as if I was watching a walkthrough of a haunted house.
I'm never gonna be able to change your mind, am I?
Nope. This is what happens when you start dating a writer who also happens to have worshipped the horror genre from the age of 9.
How'd you get started so young?
Whenever I would visit my dad, he'd make sure to show me everything that horror had to offer.
Your dad sounds like an awesome guy.
He has his moments.
Before you went off on your little anti-found footage rant, I was going to suggest you watch a classic piece of horror,
Which would be...
Nosferatu.
You, sir, have officially redeemed yourself.
I thought you'd be impressed.
Did you find a remastered copy on DVD?
Better, Blu-ray.
That's impressive.
I try.
How about I make us some popcorn while you get the movie set up?
Do you remember where everything is in my kitchen?
It's the size of Rankin's shoe closet. It shouldn't be hard to find what I'm looking for.
Holler if you need any help.
That won't be necessary.
She exits. Jason notices Carrie's notebook lying open when she was just sitting. Jason begins to read the open page.
Beating, pulsing, alive inside. Brimmed over with love, flowing freely, flowing by. Flowing out through my ears, my nose, throat, and voice. It's not unwarranted, yet it's still not a choice. I was lost, confused, I ran away, ran from the dogs, my master's a master. The man whom I thought I could never reach, I could never refuse. I was looking for love, wasn't looking for salvation, yet I found you. Waiting on the couch, sitting there, slouching, not seeming to care. But I could feel my terror heart on fire, feel myself dancing through air.
Carrie re-enters carrying a bag of popcorn.
The microwave is being a butt.
Noticing what Jason is reading,
So, this is how you really feel about me?
sitting next to Jason.
Yes?
I'm flattered.
Stop.
What? I think it's sweet.
I don't want you to think it's sweet, and I certainly don't want you to feel flattered. You weren't even supposed to find that poem.
It's not like I went looking for it. You left your notebook open to that page. What else did you expect me to do?
I was going to use it as evidence in case I couldn't muster up the words to talk to you earlier. I guess I forgot to close it.
Forgot? Or suffered from some type of Freudian slip?
None of this was supposed to happen. I feel 16 again, and I thoroughly hate it.
Don't say that.
Everything with you is... It's all right. It's going to be okay. Everything's fine. Everything is not always fine, Jason. You can't just pacify someone with sweet nothings and vague promises. Sometimes things can't be fixed.
I don't know what you want me to say. You come here and complain to me, and I thought I was doing the right thing by comforting you. I thought that's what girls liked.
Well, I'm not most girls. I'd rather you be upfront and honest with me.
Getting up.
You want the truth?
Yes.
I like you. I think you're hot, and I enjoy spending time with you, but I'm not into you
Pointing to her notebook.
like that.
So what do you want to do?
What do you mean? Just because I don't feel as strongly for you as you do about me doesn't mean we need to break up.
Yes, it does. If you don't feel like you're falling for me already, then you're never going to get to the same level that I'm at right now. Let's just end this before one of us, namely me, gets themselves hurt.
Can't we just stick together for a while and see how things play out? What's the big deal? Why can't we just be together?
I don't know. Maybe it's not love that I'm feeling. Maybe you're just the first guy that I've ever felt any genuine sort of connection to. No one understands me like you do. Whenever I used to watch movies with Freddie, I'd have to warn him in advance if there was any mutilation involved so we'd know when to cover his eyes. We could never actually go to the movies because, according to him, the movies were scarier in a room full of people. I could never take him to my favorite Halloween attractions because he was too much of a baby. The most he could take was going through the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, and even then he still screamed like a little bitch. Can't be better than Freddie ever could. We can have heated discussions about found footage horror. We can talk about which Grudge movie was better. We could play Resident Evil hours into the night. Maybe I'm not falling for you. Maybe I was just excited to finally have someone who understands me in my life.
I'm glad I know how you feel about me. If you're falling in love with me, so be it. If we end up breaking each other's hearts in 6 months, then so be that too. I don't care. I just want to be here with you right now, helping you write your show, and occasionally watching a horror movie or two. And if you have a problem with that, then I suggest you leave and never come back. However, if that doesn't bother you, which I don't think it does, then I encourage you to stay right here, in my arms, for as long as you feel like.
Thank you.
Don't thank me.
Why not?
I'm not doing you a favor. I'm doing what's ready.
They kiss. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 3. Lights up on Jason and Carrie seated in a casual dining restaurant.
This is a nice change from our normal dates, don't you think?
Yeah, it's not too bad. And besides, we don't have Cujo barking in the background.
Yeah, I can actually hear myself think.
Are you sure we're going to be able to afford this place?
Reagan said it's reasonably priced. She barely works, and when she does, she gets an offer from a company to come in and do some marketing work. She gets fired right away due to her improper office behavior. If she can afford to come here on a small income, I firmly believe that we'll be able to afford eating here.
Glancing at the menu.
$35 for the cheapest steak?
It's wrapped in Italian-style ham. What else would you expect? Just order pasta or something.
Or we could survive off these neat little appetizers they're offering. bacon and brie stuffed mushroom caps. I can make a meal out of that.
Fine. We won't come here anymore. I just thought it'd be fun to do something different, shake things up. I'm so tired of sitting in your apartment, watching movies, doing the same thing week after week. It's boring. I'm a creative individual. I need variety in my life.
I'll keep quiet about the prices for the rest of the night. But we're not getting any wine. My Friskies money is this close to drying up. I can't afford to spend my life savings on the juice of fermented grapes.
Deal.
Freddie enters, carrying a tray containing a basket of bread and 2 ornately shaped water glasses. Placing the water and bread basket on the table.
Welcome to the secret window. I'll be your server.
Freddie, what are you doing here? What happened to Forbes? You're working at your father's company.
Noticed who he's serving.
Carrie, what a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you frequented restaurants like this.
I felt like doing something different. You never answered my question. What are you doing waiting tables?
Well, after you stopped helping me write my column, my weekly post started to suck. Eventually, my bosses caught on to what had been happening and fired me. My father, ashamed that his son had stooped to such a low level, has temporarily disowned me until I can prove myself again in the world of business. Until that day happens, I'm stuck serving my former colleagues overpriced steaks and desserts.
Trying her best not to smile.
I'm sorry about that, Freddie. Yeah, I agree with the feature.
Thanks.
Intently observing Jason and Carrie.
I see you two are still together.
It'll be 6 months tomorrow.
6 months. Sounds like you guys are getting serious.
We're just dating, Freddie. Who knows what's going to happen further down the road?
I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of couples in here that look like you two, holding each other's hands across the table, giving each other those in-depth, I'm gonna stare into your eyes because they remind me of 2 drops of cool blue water looks. Laughing politely at jokes that aren't even remotely funny, just so they can get to see their partner's eyes light up in that way that turns them on ever so slightly. You guys might not be serious now, but you're sure as hell headed that way. I'm happy for you.
Are you feeling okay, Freddie?
Yes, why?
In all the time I've known you, you've never been this nice to me. Ever. Not even when we were living together.
I've changed in the time that we've been apart. Losing you was a real eye-opener for me. I walked out of your apartment, confident in everything I said that night. I firmly believed that you were just like any other girl, fragile with no hope of surviving without a strong-willed man by your side. But then I got back out into the real world. I quickly realized that it was me who needed you. I wasn't as intelligent or self-sufficient as I thought I was. I didn't realize all the things you did around the apartment to keep both of us fully functioning. I don't want to put a damper on your evening, Carrie, but I'm thoroughly lost without you.
Freddie, don't do this. Not here, not now.
Getting down on one knee.
Carrie, I know I've been a jerk to you in the past. I can make it up to you. I can improve upon all my faults. I can be the man you need to support you in your desire to become a professional writer. I'm still deeply skeeved out by your love of horror, but I'll watch as many movies and go to as many haunted houses if it means that you'll let me be in your life again. No matter what happens in the future, please promise me that you'll stay by my side. Marry me, Carrie. Be with me for the rest of my life.
Check, please.
Freddie, get out.
I'll go get the car.
Don't leave me alone with him. You sit your ass right back down.
Yes, dear.
Come on, Carrie, say yes. You know that this toothpick is never going to become the man you need.
What does the fact that he's considerably skinnier than you have to do with his credibility as my boyfriend?
Don't you want a man with a little meat on his bones?
You're disgusting.
Is there any way we can be waited on by someone else, or seated upstairs perhaps? I saw when we were driving up that there's a really nice rooftop seating area.
Please say you'll marry me. I know deep down inside it's what you always wanted.
Or just ignore me, that's cool too.
Maybe at one point I did. Maybe 6 fucking years ago I was delusional enough to think that you and I were destined to be together forever. But then I got older and decided to pull my head out of your ass because I could no longer take the smell. It's over, Freddie. It was over before it even began. We're not meant to be together, nor ever will be. I'm glad you've changed. I'm happy that you're finally taking responsibility for your own life, but there's no way in hell that I'd ever consider getting back together with you, let alone
dollar bill on the table.
What she said.
Here. Blackout. Act 2, Scene 4. Lights up on Carrie and Jason walking through a park. Carrie is holding her high heels in her hand. Jason has his hand gently wrapped around Carrie's waist.
I still cannot believe that you've never been to Han Park. It's one of my favorite spots in the entire state.
I'm not much of a nature person. You would think growing up in California my entire life I'd have an affinity for nature and all its wonders, but nope. Never caught the nature lover bug.
Perhaps I can change your mind.
If you want to take on that challenge, go right ahead.
You consider this challenge accepted.
You're such a dork.
I'm proud of it. I never got to tell you how beautiful you look tonight.
Thanks. Reagan did my makeup for me and I borrowed one of her dresses.
I was wondering why you looked a little uncomfortable when you sat down. Reagan has a habit of wearing unbearably tight clothes.
Adjusting the
noticed.
dress.
I've noticed.
I'm sorry tonight turned out so badly.
Why are you apologizing? I should be the one asking for your forgiveness. He's my ex-boyfriend.
I don't know, I just feel guilty, I guess.
You have no reason to feel negatively about what happened. It's my fault. I'm the one who suggested we go somewhere different for dinner. I let us right into Freddie's territory.
Unknowingly.
Still, my fault whether or not I knew what I was doing, and if I had known in advance that he worked there, I would have just kept my mouth shut. A night in front of your TV watching The Lost Boys and ironically eating Chinese food would have been just as fun as a night out in the town.
Don't say that. You're a gorgeous, smart, funny, creative woman. You deserve to be treated like something special every now and again.
Thanks, Jason.
You know, I actually got you a present for our anniversary.
I thought we agreed that this anniversary wasn't significant enough for gifts.
Well, I changed my mind.
What did you get me?
It's back in the car. I can get it if you'd like to see it.
Of course I want to see it!
Okay, I'll be right back.
Jason exits. He quickly returns carrying a large poster covered by a cloth.
What in God's name is that?
Let me start off by saying that after all this time, I finally know how I feel about you. I love you, Carrie.
I love you too.
They kiss.
So, what's under the cloth?
Well, one night when you were over, I was sitting up in bed thinking about that poem you wrote. I kept thinking about how you described me as being your romantic salvation, and how I made you feel like you wouldn't be alone anymore.
I still can't believe I wrote those things down.
So, I went into your bag and found your notebook, and I took the poem and quickly typed it up. I have this friend from high school who does this graphic design stuff. I emailed him your poem and asked if he could create some type of image or collage to place around the words. 3 years ago, I got this delivered to my house.
Jason takes the cloth off the poster.
I'm going to do my best to ignore the fact that you shared my most private, intimate words with another living human being. Jason is beautiful!
Carrie throws her arms around Jason.
I was hoping you'd like it.
Like it! I love it! I can't wait to hang it up at home.
Reagan might mind if you take up more of her wall space.
Like I care. This is a gorgeous piece of art. It needs to be displayed for all who enter to feast their eyes upon.
Happy anniversary, Carrie.
Thanks, Jason. Happy anniversary to you too.
They kiss.
Now, I feel bad that I didn't get you anything.
It's alright. There's always a 1-year anniversary.
That's true.
Do you want me to go put it back in the car? It's kind of large to be carrying around.
I don't mind.
Carrie tries picking up the poster. After struggling for a few beats, Jason takes the poster gently out of Carrie's hands.
How about I go put this back?
I think that may be best.
Jason exits. Carrie sits down in the grass. She gathers her belongings around her. As Jason re-enters, Carrie begins to cry. Rushing over to Carrie.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You honestly expect me to believe that in the last 2 minutes, nothing has managed to bother you?
Exactly.
Carrie, please tell me what's bothering you.
Carrie continues to cry.
Do I have to bribe you to speak, or are you going to give it willingly?
Fine. After you gave me my gift, I started thinking about our relationship and how it's grown over these last few months.
So these are happy tears?
Not exactly. Jason, I love you. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone else besides my family, of course.
But
It's our intense love for each other that scares me greater than any horror movie ever could.
I don't think I'm following.
Do you remember that day I came over to your apartment to tell you how I felt about you?
Yeah, it was the same day that I found your poem.
Do you remember how I could barely tell you that I was falling for you, but you were still unsure?
Yes?
You say now that you've finally figured out that you're in love with me. How can I be sure that you feel the same way about me that I do about you?
Are we seriously still on this? I love you, you love me. It's a straight up Barney episode. What the hell? Are at the same intensity or not? Why is this such a big deal for you?
I I wish I could explain to you all that's going on inside my head. No matter how many times I try to rearrange the words so that they'll make sense to you, they never seem to form the appropriate configuration. I guess I'm just afraid of getting my heart broken again.
Carrie, do I look like a grade A asshole to you?
What kind of question is that?
Do I act like Freddy? Do I treat you like you don't matter? Do I make you run my entire life for me? Or do I treat you like the mature adult that you are?
That isn't what I meant.
Then what did you mean?
You are nothing like Freddie. That's what I've enjoyed about our relationship the most. It's not just the fact that we can discuss horror. You've actually taken an interest in me. You care about me as a person. You've given me things on an emotional level that Freddie never could. But no matter how long we're together or how nice you treat me or how many personalized gifts you buy me, we're never going to be on the same plane. It's like we're sitting on a pair of those Egyptian scales. I'm always going to be resting a little higher than you. You're always going to be scrambling upwards, trying to get on my level.
I still don't see what the problem is. Isn't it a good thing that we're on different levels? If we were on the same play, as you put it, wouldn't things just get boring? Isn't it better to always be reaching for something? Isn't it better when things aren't even between partners in a relationship?
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I guess I'm just too afraid to take the risk.
What risk? You overthink the situation too much. I don't understand why anything needs to be debated here. We're in love, we're dating, we occasionally enact role plays based off our favorite horror flicks and watch a Serbian film right after as a sort of chaser. Everything's been going great these last few months, so why all of a sudden are we getting cold feet?
I think I'm afraid of being in love.
You're afraid of the thing you've been chasing this entire time? What a cliche.
Excuse me, I didn't... It's not like I asked for this bizarre psychological complex.
I'm sorry, I'm being rude. How about I take you home, you get some sleep, and we can discuss this in the morning?
No, we're finishing this now.
Have I ever mentioned how stubborn you can be?
I'm not being stubborn. If we're going to continue on seeing each other, this needs to be dealt with immediately.
Alright, we've come to the conclusion that you're afraid of being in love. Please tell me this has nothing to do with him.
I wish I could.
You know that if you ever want to move past this relationship, you're going to have to just jump right in. You can't guard your heart forever, Carrie. Either you move on fully, committing to a new relationship, or you sit having a pity party by yourself for the rest of your life. Because you dated a really bad man who shattered your heart into a million pieces of stained glass and you're having trouble fitting them back together again. Sorry, Carrie, it's just frustrating dealing with you sometimes.
What do you mean, sometimes? You've had problems with me like this before because I'm pretty sure that in the last few months I've managed to keep this insecurity of mine a secret.
I'm sorry. I love you, Carrie, and I care about you more than anything else, more than anyone else. But I have to admit that you don't make loving you easy. You're almost as bad as Meg Ryan's character in When Harry Met Sally.
I don't understand that reference.
I have seen one more romantic movie than My Girlfriend. What the fuck has happened to my life?
What do you mean I'm difficult?
You sometimes pretend that you're completely unscathed from Freddy, and then the rest of the time you're too busy playing the victim to realize that you have a doting boyfriend in front of you who's just tired of trying to fix your problems.
There's nothing for you to fix. I'm not a damn China doll. I just have this new commitment phobia thing. Just give me a few months and I can get over it.
What are you saying? Are you suggesting that we break up?
No. Just a break. A few months for us to collect our thoughts and figure out where we stand as a couple.
You mean a few months for you to figure out what the fuck is wrong with the connection going from your brain to your heart?
I've seen your true colors tonight, Jason.
And I've seen quite a few of yours. You realize that a lot of what I've said tonight has been fueled by anger. I don't really think of you as being that difficult.
I would hope not. You can apologize until the zombie apocalypse starts. It's not going to change the fact that I'm pissed at you for not being sympathetic to my feelings.
Carrie, I've spent the last 6 months being sympathetic. You know what? I think this break is a good thing. You need some time to look yourself in the mirror. You need to reevaluate how you treat people, especially those that you're romantically involved with. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, Carrie. I've never quite met a girl like you. You're a fireball with a pen, you're incredibly smart, and you can watch a human centipede without barfing. If you don't have so much emotional baggage, I'd ask you to move into me right now. But if we're gonna try to make this relationship work, you're gonna need to get your shit together.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
A few beats pass, Carrie begins to cry again. Putting his arms around Carrie,
Carrie, can I take you home?